Hello, I'm Deacon Caso, and I wanted to talk to you today about some very important issues facing us not just as a church, but as a people. You may know that the Catholic Church has 7 principles of Catholic social teaching. But the very foundation of all of those principles is life and the dignity of the human person. Upon that foundation, all of the other principles rest. First and foremost, life and the dignity of the human person. So when we think about our position in favor of life, our foundation in favor of life, we have to remember that we're not just against things. So we can't be just against abortion. We cannot be just against euthanasia. We cannot just be against the death penalty. Because as Catholics, we have to embrace life in all of its aspects, and we have to say, we are in favor of life because Jesus taught us that life is sacred. Now, what does that mean for a young woman in crisis? All too often today, young women find themselves with an unexpected pregnancy, unplanned for, and it turns their life upside down. I've heard from women who have been kicked out of their houses because their families were so ashamed that their daughter became pregnant. I've heard of young women who have been actually beaten by their families because of the shame over an unplanned pregnancy. But that woman is carrying life within her. No matter how it came to be, she is carrying life in her. And now we, as a society, as a culture, put on her shoulders the decision between life and death. She must now make that decision whether or not she will bring that baby to term and give a life, or whether she will terminate that baby and bring death. So what resources are there for her to turn to in this most critical decision she will ever make in her entire life? Well, there's a lot of groups out there that actually promote abortion. They may call themselves reproductive freedom, they may call themselves pro-choice, but they are actually promoting abortion. They make money off of abortion. And so these are well-known groups, and the woman knows she can turn to them. What advice will she get? She will hear only that she should have an abortion. How do we get the message to her that there are other options? This is a question that our California bishops have come together on and decided to support a group called Options United. I want you to remember that. Options United. This is an organization that brings together all of the pro-life organizations in California. Now, here in the Diocese of Orange, you may know we have Obria, we have the Santa Ana Life Center, we have Mary's Path, we have Casa Teresa. Well, with so many groups, and they're all on rather limited budgets, how does the woman get connected to them? That's the job of Options United. Becomes the critical resource for women at the moment they are making the decision between life and death. So a woman can call Options United, be connected with a human voice that cares for her. And from there, she can be directed to medical services. She can be directed to groups that will care for her if she's been excluded from her house. She'll be directed to the services that she needs that are closest and most convenient to her. Options United. You can help with this. This is a big job because this is a group that operates statewide. And so they need your help. And our bishops in California are united in asking for your help. You can help with a donation. They need to hire a lot of employees to be able to staff the phones and be ready for the woman in crisis when she calls. You can also volunteer with them. They have people, and this is what you can volunteer for, is to be a text message buddy walking with the woman during her time of crisis. Somebody to let her know on a daily basis that somebody else is thinking of her, that she is truly loved, that we know that she is a precious gift from God, as is her baby. If you think this is your charism, volunteer for Options United. It's the one way we can all help the woman in crisis at the time when the crisis is most acute. There's another way you can help with the Catholic social teaching that all life is sacred, that our main foundation is the protection of human life and the dignity of the human person. On your November ballot in California, you'll find Proposition 1. Now, in California, we have a very, very liberal abortion law. The only thing it prohibits is late-term abortions. Other than that, it's very liberal. In fact, you as taxpayers are paying for many abortions. That's how liberal that law is. Proposition 1 is a radical expansion of that law. It will enshrine in the state constitution a right to an abortion up to the moment of birth. Doesn't matter that the baby could survive outside the womb. That proposition will allow an abortion up to the moment of birth. This is a radical expansion, and it puts the state firmly in the camp of death. What can you do? 1, you can register. Make sure that you're eligible to vote in the November election. 2, you can vote no on Proposition 1. Join with the California bishops in voting no on Proposition 1. And 3rd, most difficult of all, and I know this is uncomfortable, you can talk to your family, your friends, your coworkers, and your neighbors. Let them know that there's no need for Proposition 1 in California. We already have one of the most liberal abortion laws in the country. There's no need for this radical expansion that just puts the state firmly in the camp of death. There is no need to enshrine a right to abortion up to the moment of birth in our state constitution. Take this step. It's difficult. It's hard. This is uncomfortable conversation. But it's where you can make a difference in supporting the Catholic social teaching, the foundation of all Catholic social teaching about life, human dignity. Remember, we're not just against abortion. That's not the message here. We are for life. Jesus taught us that all life is sacred. That's where our ground is. We are firmly on the ground that life is sacred. And that's what we're in favor of. Lord, you taught us that all life is sacred. Your Son went through his ministry curing the sick, raising the dead. He told us he does not want the death of a sinner, but his conversion. You've told us you do not want death. And so by your Son's life, death, and resurrection, you allowed him to destroy the bonds of death. And in fact, it is that resurrection that gives us hope for life eternal. Give us the strength to advocate to our neighbors against these attempts to cheapen life. You taught us that all life is sacred. Give us the strength to fight for that belief. Amen.